The time is precisely 6:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by Dulmin Samrasinghe and read by Chandima Veerakorn. The headlines. The Prime Minister assures to continue with the development of the country. Health authorities say the support of the public is essential to control the spread of coronavirus. 50 new doctors appointed to hospitals in the northern province. Police arrest a suspect with drugs valuing more than 100 million rupees. In foreign news, Southeast Asia economies take a big hit in 2020. In sports news, it's tennis. Aslan Karastev makes history at Australian Open. Local stories in detail. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa says that the development of the country will not be allowed to be disrupted due to coronavirus pandemic. The Prime Minister said that the development of the country will be continued similar to the manner harbours, airports and expressways were launched during the time of terrorism. The Prime Minister mentioned this while attending the function to launch the construction of Mahanithula and Mahakirula reservoirs of the northwestern Maha-Ela project this morning. Speaking on the occasion, he said that the elements which tried to disrupt development during the period of terrorism are opposing the present government. He said that the aim of the government is to create a self-sufficient country based on nationality with a healthy group of people. Symbolically handing over of 45 vehicles donated by the Japanese government for the use of police department to President Gotabaya Rajapaksa took place this morning at the Presidential Secretariat. Japanese ambassador in Sri Lanka, Akira Sugiyama, handed over the vehicles to the president. The vehicles included 31 jeeps, 4 buses and 10 vans. The value of the vehicles that were handed over today is over 770 million rupees. It is the first phase of the donation, valuing over 1,250 million rupees. Another stock of equipment and vehicles are scheduled to be received in future under the second phase. The President's Media Division said Professor Channa Jayasubana has been appointed as the Acting Cabinet Minister of Health. He is also the State Minister of Production, Supply and Regulation of Pharmaceuticals. In the meantime, State Minister Roshan Ranasinghe, who was appointed as the State Minister of Provincial Councils and Local Government Affairs. They were sworn in before President Gotabaya Rajapaksa at the Presidential Secretariat this morning. Director General of Health Services, Consultant Dr. Asela Gunawardena says that the support of the public is essential to control the spread of the coronavirus. He has warned that new restrictions may have to be imposed if people do not follow health advice. He mentioned this at a function to commission the PCR test laboratory set up at Kalutara National Health Institute. He said that no decision has been taken to lock down the country, and the laboratory has been established with donations from a philanthropist with the assistance of Health Ministry and Suvasarana Health Fund. Ministry of Health reported today that 1,018 more individuals who were infected with COVID-19 were discharged from hospitals after recovering from the illness. The total recoveries from novel coronavirus infection in the country have reached 70,429. The country has registered 76,428 positive cases of COVID-19 since the pandemic's outbreak. According to the Epidemiology Unit's data, 5,596 patients are receiving treatment at hospitals and treatment centres. Meanwhile, Minister of Health Pavitra Banyarachi, who was receiving treatment for COVID-19, has been discharged from the hospital this afternoon. She has been discharged from the infectious disease hospital after completely recovering from the virus. State Minister Sudarshini Fernandopulle said the number of guests for weddings has been revised from 150 to 50. She said the new guidelines would be issued within the course of the day. Northern Provincial Health Services Director Dr. A. Katheeswaran says 50 new doctors have been appointed to hospitals in the Northern Province. He said that they have been appointed by the Ministry of Health with effect from yesterday. Director of Health Services Northern Province Dr. A. Katheeswaran also said they will be on duty at rural hospitals in Jaffna, Kilinochchi, Mullaitivu, Vavuniya and Mannar districts. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Continuing with the local stories, police said a suspect was arrested with 10 kilograms of heroin and ice during a raid at a guest house in Gamsabha Junction in Nugegoda. The drugs have a street value of more than 100 million rupees. Police spokesman DIG Ajit Rohana said the Police Organised Crimes Division seized over 5 kilograms of heroin and over 5 kilograms of ice drugs from the manager of the guest house. He said the suspect has been taken into custody for further questioning. The first provincial office of Sri Lanka Foreign Employment Agency Company was opened yesterday in Jaffna by State Minister Priyankara Jayaratne. Speaking on the occasion, State Minister said that several plans will be implemented this year for the development of foreign employment sector, according to Vistas of Prosperity manifesto. He said that training programs will be prepared targeting job markets of different countries. State Minister Jayaratne said that setting up for a skilled labour force with language and vocational training has already commenced. Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka recently organised a public seminar on tax. The online public seminar titled Awareness on Personal Tax Obligations attracted over 725 participants who joined the free seminar. The seminar was organised amidst increasing concerns expressed by the public in relation to opening income tax files and file returns. The government announced and implemented significant tax changes from 1st January 2021, where the advanced personal income tax was introduced in lieu of pay-as-you-earn tax. In the past, taxpayers who only had employment income were not required to file income tax returns, as payee tax was deducted from their income by the employer and remitted to the Inland Revenue Department. However, from January 2020, everyone who is in the tax liable range are required to register with the Inland Revenue Department and comply with the respective tax obligations. To end the local news, the headlines again. The Prime Minister assures to continue with the development of the country. Health authorities say the support of the public is essential to control the spread of the coronavirus. 50 new doctors appointed to hospitals in the northern province. Police arrest a suspect with drugs valuing more than 100 million rupees. That came to you in local news.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Veda Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
On the main news story, in the wake of COVID-19 cases belonging to the new variant being detected in the country, the Health Ministry requested people to restrict movement and follow health guidelines by being extra vigilant. Deputy Director General of Health Services, Dr. Hemant Herath, told the media that as the new variant is highly transmissible, it is essential to adhere to health guidelines and restrict movement. That came to you in main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
On Watchlight, Cabinet spokesman Minister Keheli Rabukwella said the government approved the resolution submitted by the Transport Minister for taking necessary measures for utilising the online prepaid transit card for public transport. He said the system will be implemented in the public transport sector as a solution to using money to buy tickets. That ends Watchlight.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
From the first step you take till the time we meet, the trusted leader prioritizes you always.
All you need under one roof. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
Headlines of the world news. Southeast Asia economies take a big hit in 2020. China arrests leader of fake vaccine scam. Independent commission investigates Capitol riots. New data show the full extent of the economic damage done by the coronavirus pandemic in Southeast Asia. The health crisis battered the region's top economies in 2020 and triggered steep annual contractions. Indonesia's GDP shrank by 2% as the virus hit tourism and consumer spending. It's the first time the region's biggest economy has gone backwards since 1998, when it was mired in the Asian currency crisis. The Philippine economy shrank by a record 9.5%. Thailand's GDP contracted by 6.1%, its worst result since 1998. And Singapore also suffered a record decline, logging a 5.4% slump. China has arrested the leader of a multi-million-dollar scam that passed off saline solution and mineral water as COVID-19 vaccines. The man, identified as Kong, had researched the packaging designs of real vaccines before making more than 58,000 of his own concoctions. The batch of the vaccines was smuggled overseas, but it is not known where they were sent to. Kong is among 70 people who have been arrested for similar crimes. U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says Congress will establish an outside independent commission to investigate the 6th January attack on U.S. Capitol by supporters of Donald Trump. In a letter to lawmakers, she said the commission would be modeled on the inquiry into the 11 September 2001 attacks on New York and the Pentagon. Former President Trump was acquitted by the Senate for inciting the violence. To end the world news, the headlines again. Southeast Asia economies take a big hit in 2020. China arrests leader of fake vaccine scam. Independent commission investigates Capitol riots. That ends World News.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
From the first step you take till the time we meet, the trusted leader prioritizes you always.
All you need under one roof. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
Moving on to development news. Diversifying its portfolio, Resource Energy, operating a number of mini hydropower stations in Sri Lanka, recently connected the first of its ground-mounted solar PV plants to the national grid. The development rights were secured from a government tender floated under the Surya Balasangramaya program. With a total capacity of 2 megawatts built at a cost of over 300 million rupees, these are the first ground-mounted solar PV power stations connected to the Ampara grid substation. That ends development news. Over to sports news. It's tennis and football. In tennis, Aslan Karstev's historic run continued at the Australian Open today as the Russian became the first man in the Open era to reach the semi-finals on his Grand Slam debut. The world number 114 stunned a clearly injured Grigor Dimitrov 2-6, 6-4, 6-1 and 6-2 at Rod Laver Arena. Krastev, who had previously attempted to qualify for 9 Grand Slam championships, is only the 5th qualifier to reach the semi-finals of a Grand Slam in the Open era with a victory which took 2 hours and 32 minutes. And in football, some of European football's top fixtures will have an unfamiliar look in the coming weeks as several teams will be forced to play matches in neutral venues due to the new travel restrictions. The venue changes largely concern teams from the United Kingdom and Germany, with both nations recently introducing regulations that prohibited national travel from countries deemed to be high risk. That ends sports news.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
On business news, Lanka Credit and Business Finance Limited expects to list its shares on the Colombo Stock Exchange shortly. LCB Finance CEO Executive Director KG Leela Ananda in a statement said stakeholders could get better value with the listing of companies' shares on the share market. Mr. Leelananda said LCB Finance was formed in a southern region in 2016, and they also want to give out a message that listing of shares is the way forward. That ends Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic News, courtesy of...
Congratulations on your promotion. When will be our treat, huh?
How about today?
Oh no, I was just joking.
It's fine. I have my LOLC credit card with me. Let's go out today.
Introducing LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
And on economic news, Sri Lanka's manufacturing and services activities expanded at a faster pace in January, continuing the momentum regained since November last year, as the two sectors received a boost from new businesses while the prospects for future activities further improved with the normalizing of economic activities world over. Purchasing managers' indices for both manufacturing and services expanded by 60.2 index points and 56.2 points in January respectively, compared to 61.2 points and 55.6 points in December 2020. That ends economic news.
Hello, Puta. Did you land already?
No, Amma. We're in transit and our flight got delayed.
Oh, really? How is Shani? Poor thing with her pregnancy. She might be feeling very uncomfortable. The airport must be heavily crowded because it's a season.
Amma, calm down. Everything is sorted. Why, I have my LOLC World Card with me. We are at the VIP lounge. There's nothing to worry.
Those who spread goodness radiate happiness to everyone around them. Introducing LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
And finally on the weather report, the Met Department says showers or thundershowers will occur at several places in Sabaragamuwa, Central, Uva and Southern provinces and in Kalutara district during the evening or at night. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in Central, Sabaragamuwa and Uva provinces and in Gaul and Mathura districts during the morning. That ends the weather report. And to end this bulletin of news, the headlines again. The Prime Minister assures to continue with the development of the country. Health authorities say the support of the public is essential to control the spread of coronavirus. 50 new doctors appointed to hospitals in the northern province. Police arrest a suspect with drugs valuing more than 100 million rupees. In news overseas, Southeast Asia economies take a big hit in 2020. And in sports, it's tennis. Aslan Karastev makes history at Australian Open. With that, we conclude this bulletin of news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.